Hello, I'm Toycat, and welcome back to another Minecraft update news video. Today I have some incredible news regarding lunge. It seems as though Mojang have listened and found a really interesting solution to the cost, and I'm going to be doing that while talking about the latest Bedrock beta and preview, because 1.20.1.130 just got its second beta preview, except I'm actually just learning that no it didn't. That's delayed until tomorrow, so if you want to learn what's coming to Bedrock, that is something we'll be finding out on Wednesday. It's okay, we didn't have anything big planned over here or anything, so let's instead jump over to the Java edition, where I can tell you about these new changes to lunge that will be hitting Java and Bedrock in this brand new Mounts of Mayhem drop. And just because we're on Java, it doesn't mean our usual format needs to stop, and so I'll be sharing this update with you with the 4 key takeaways, the 4 biggest ones from it, as well as diving into what exactly that means for the future of features in this drop, and indeed the even bigger question, which relates to exactly when will this be coming out, and let's go into all of that today by starting with the first feature, which is one that I think is just okay. They've changed it so that Nautiluses and Zombie Nautiluses, the 2 brand new undersea mounts, will now no longer be able to fit into a boat. Now, I do give them credit for fixing this during the snapshot process. I think fixing this after it comes out is something that I have been peeved at a few times with how Minecraft does boats, but now if you want to get Nautiluses or Zombie Nautiluses around your world, you'll no longer be able to do so by sliding it into your boat because it simply will not fit. Instead, if you want to get these mobs around your world, you'll have to tame them if you want to, and then ride them just like so, which is a totally fine way to do things if you want to get them around an ocean, but it's a real pain on the land. And so is this a good change? I guess it depends on whether you care about realism or gameplay value more, because there is also a brand new feature, which I guess is objectively good. There's a brand new sound which comes when you saddle a mount underwater. It's called the Nautilus Mount Underwater sound. You know, this is the sound on screen right here, but if you do tame a Nautilus while he is on the land, or rather in the sea, and then put a saddle on him, it'll sound like this. Ooh, yeah. It sounds a little bit like the shear sound, and it's kind of cool that it exists, but it is the first of the 4 Mounts of Mayhem drops features from this week's snapshot. So the second of these features relates to the spear, and it's going to rely on me going into survival here. So let's go right here into a little cave where I conveniently have this button that will spawn me zombies. So the charge attack has been changed to not only deal 1 extra damage, which is nice, but also to have a better visual indicator that you're actually hitting something. I used to find it very annoying, at least on Java, trying to work out if I actually had attacked something, because it feels like emotionally you should be charging in something and only damaging when you're super close, but obviously, as you can see, that results in some weird things that we now have fixed in this fun way. So they've also changed it, so I think that's really fun by itself, but also the spear model is slightly larger because they want to make sure it's a more intimidating weapon. Weirdly, I've heard a lot of feedback saying the opposite, but clearly Mojang has heard feedback saying the spear should be bigger, and it does look incredibly large. Speaking of being incredibly large, the third feature, because that second one's quite minor, is the one that I think is most exciting, and it relates to how the spear works with the jab attack. So the jab attack is the main attack, you know, this one. It's very fun by itself, and what's interesting is right now it is very weak, but Minecraft have decided that this is something that needs to be buffed, which is why the enchantment which previously existed, lunge, is getting a bit of a buff. So, real quick, I think that lunge previously was wildly painful to use. It cost 128 durability points, and Mojang agrees, which is why now, if you use lunge, bear in mind I'm in survival, it uses none. We've gone from the most use of durability by a single action that you could consistently do down to 0, and how exactly can that be true? Well, you might have noticed, you might not have, what exactly happened there. When I lunged, my spear stayed at full durability, but not my hunger. Again, I'll instant replay that for you. You can see that my hunger goes down quite dramatically, and it means that once you get down to free hunger, you can't do this anymore. This means that the lunge function on a spear has been massively upgraded in terms of durability, but then downgraded in terms of hunger, and personally, I think that's a good balance. Mojang put this huge downside on lunge because they didn't want you using it all the time, and I think that this is a... Wait, did I just get that for free? No, I am getting this for free. Mojang put this huge downside into the spear. I guess it uses your saturation first and then your hunger. Interesting. But Mojang put this huge downside into the spear, and I think that now it's actually balanced for the average player rather than the endgame player who has unbreaking and mending on a netherite spear with the maxed out enchantments. And this is a good change if you ask me. I really like this. I'm a big fan. Speaking of being a big fan, I do want to talk about, before we go into the 4th feature, some weird Java Bedrock parity things that I've noticed. So, No, not a baby zombie. So here is my Smite 5 spear, by the way. As you can see, the spear is actually... Oh god, not very good at attacking baby zombies. But what's interesting right here in Java is this new downside of hunger can actually be used to your benefit. So right now, I'm healing very slowly because I've used up all my saturation, and so I'm healing at bedrock speeds. On Java, this is considered glacial. I'm healing at 1/2 heart every 4 seconds. Java players consider this to be ridiculous, and so an easy way to get back up to fast healing would be deliberately draining my hunger so I could re-top it up all the way to the max, where I'll then heal at Java speeds. And then if I wanted to do it again, I could simply lunge a bunch until I get my hunger right back down. So that's a really interesting difference. The lunge enchantment is better on Java than Bedrock because you have a reason to actually want to lower your hunger on Java, because the hunger system is so much better and is how it works everywhere else and hasn't been added there for 5 years. Yeah, sorry, 5 years. Wow, 5 years. Can you imagine if it was only that amount of time? 9 years, I meant to say. Sorry, you can tell if I'm bitter here. But the other interesting thing that's only here in Java is the fact that if you have multiple zombies, it's really, really, really easy to hit both of them with the same swing. So here is my spiked spear. As you can see, they're both kind of together, and I'm going to... Well, actually, that didn't prove my case at all. But on Java, there's a real, good range on how far away you can be attacking a zombie from to get through it. And what's interesting is this range means that if you have two zombies that are kind of close by within your theoretical reach distance, you'll be able to... Okay, so let's attack this guy first, and now let's finish them both off with the same hit, right in the middle there. This is really challenging to pull off on Bedrock, and so it's something that I hope that they fix, because on Java, effectively the spear has a bit of an area for effect attack, which is very, very, very interesting. Speaking of things that I think are very, very interesting, oh, look at that healing, isn't it incredible? Before we show off the fourth feature, I'd like to just really mention, Lunge has gone from being worthless for 96 to 99% of players to being now an incredible excitement that I'm looking forward to. Really balls that one up, huh? An exciting enchantment that I'm looking forward to, and I love that change, but they've also made a fourth change that is specific to here on Java. Everything else that you've just seen will be made to Bedrock as well, it is almost certain, but this change is exclusive to Java because of the world border command. This does not exist on Bedrock, but we can create a brand new world border, and previously this would be based on seconds, so add minus 1,000 or minus that many thousands over one tick, and now the world border will shrink massively over a certain number of seconds. Now the reason they say that they've done it over ticks rather than seconds is because previously it would happen while paused and now it won't. And so yeah, here's a fun bit of Minecraft information for you that won't affect 99.99% of everyone watching, but isn't it nice to know about regardless? I think it kind of tells you that yeah, this week's snapshot really was about tweaking the feature they already added last week. I think that Lunge is really, really cool. I love that you can use it while creative flying to get that little bit of an extra boost, and I love that they've made it a hunger-based pain. You know, to me, that is a fairer thing that is like, it creates a new gameplay mechanic rather than just relying too much on an existing one. I really love to see it, and I think that's great. So that is the majority of what you see in this week's snapshot, and I think therefore the big question... Oh, by the way, I also have one last thing to point out, which is, did you know when my editor Harrison opened the snapshot for the sake of making... like the little clips of it you've seen in the background, he got this little survey show up on a screen which said, oh yeah, are you enjoying this? Which feature is more important to you? User-generated mods, independent user-made additions and changes to the game, or cross-platform play? This is weird because neither of these features exist on Java right now. So I wouldn't go conspiracy mode and say, clearly they're planning to add these things to Java or remove Java. Instead, I would just guess that they're trying to work out amongst their community whether it's more important to have add-ons that work or whether it's more important to have cross-platform play. I would guess for the sake of marketing, but who's to say for sure? Sorry, it's just, isn't that a fun little thing that came up here? But yeah, based on what we've seen from this week's snapshot, I think that one of two things is happening, and you're not going to like one of them, but I think that there is a real chance of this. The snapshot and preview process does have to end in somewhere in November. That could be early November, it could be late November, if they want to release it in December, which is what they said they will. They're releasing it in 2025, presumably meaning the end of this year, and so that means that we have a very short period left to actually do these snapshots, to actually do these features, and so that means that with tomorrow's preview, it is coming out tomorrow, at least according to internal Mojang sources. With tomorrow's preview, if there are no new features, and indeed if it stays the same as much like this snapshot, then I think that we are getting very close to the end of this snapshots process, which is a wild thing for me to be able to say while we are 2 weeks into it. This is the second week. This will be the second preview for Bedrock. It's still not here yet. So we're not even in the second week of Bedrock previews, but we might be very close towards the end of them because there just isn't that much time left in 2025 with which to make new content. And so, yeah, I would say that either the release date is going to have to go to the end of December so they can add more content, or that the content in this update is going to have to be dramatically less in terms of how much is added during the preview process. And I think that that's a very interesting thing to say. But I would still predict that we'll see one big unannounced feature drop somewhere in that preview process. And will it be tomorrow? Well, I guess we'll have to find out then. Because for now, I hope you all enjoyed this little snapshot video. Again, very caught off guard by the fact that there was no Bedrock beta in preview. But that means we were extra ready and excited to show you tomorrow. I really, 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 really love the idea of creating new gameplay mechanics in Minecraft rather than just kind of screwing over existing ones. And I think that Lunge has done this so perfectly. Ooh, there's some command blocks here. I think that Lunge has done this so perfectly. And I want to know if you agree with that or if you think, nah, actually, this is the worst. But I also want to know if Mojang have any actual plans to balance the combat better, because this, making it hunger-based is great in every single way, but Bedrock Java parity, where again, healing up on Bedrock is a vastly different process, and healing up fast on Java is a, benefit. There's a reason you'd want to drain your hunger quicker. So I'm hoping that this is a sign that they're going to bring hunger parity. But, as always, I think it's just really hard to tell. It seems perfectly logical that now would be the time to bring in certain combat features, but until we see them, it's too hard to say that they are there. So with that said, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I've been IBX Toycat. I hope you all enjoyed it, because I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. Oh, goodbye.